Hey everyone, and welcome to the Nostalgia Effect, the podcast where we examine movies from our childhood through the lens of adulthood. As always, I'm Amy, and we got Joe.
Hello.
And Johnny.
Hey.
Joe, you didn't interrupt me.
No, I didn't.
I was like waiting for it.
I was waiting when you said like the podcast where we examine movies from our childhood. I wanted to be like, I got my rubber glove.
And today we are talking about Johnny's pick, Wayne's World.
Wayne's World, party time.
Excellent.
But before we talk about that, we're going to do something very related for talking trailers, because there's not really any trailers that are coming out right now.
Despite it being almost the summer movie season.
It is summer movie season.
But I mean, all the trailers have dropped for all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel like whenever I
I was going to say we don't get Christmas trailers until like September.
Yeah. Well, I just feel like what happens every summer is like there's all these movies that I'm really excited about. Yeah. And then as the summer's happening, I'm like, oh, but they're all really spaced out and there's actually only like 5 of them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, very true.
I think the next one that I'm probably the most excited for is Spider-Man.
Yeah, and that's not until July.
Yeah.
And I still haven't seen like John Wick 3. I'm behind.
You are
I'm
behind
on my
and
summer
you even
movies.
have A-list.
I know, but I'm very lazy.
Yeah, that's true.
A-list can't help you with that.
They really can't.
No.
If they could, boy.
But because there are no trailers, we're going to be talking about some of our favorite SNL sketches. Because Wayne's World started out as an SNL sketch.
It did?
No, it didn't.
Oh, okay.
She got you.
Damn it, Amy.
And I think it's also probably the best SNL sketch movie.
Yeah, I mean, I would say yes in terms of like a movie.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, you're right. It's my favorite and it is the best.
Yeah.
I would say close second would be Night at the Roxbury, which I personally love.
Interesting.
A lot of people don't like it,
No.
and it's fair. It's not a great movie,
No.
but I fucking love it. So.
For me, and I don't
Blues
know
Brothers.
if it's...
Oh, yeah.
See, Amy knows me too well. We're probably going to have to kill you now.
Yeah. Oh, well.
No, for me...
That's your favorite one.
Yeah, well, but it's also really, really good. It is a good... Have you seen it?
I have not. I've seen Blues Brothers 2000.
Can we put... Well, it's not a bad movie.
We can put Blues Brothers on the list. I think it
haven't
might
seen
already
either
be
of
on the
those.
list.
That might be part of the... That could be a good entry in the new series.
The new series that we're not talking about until next week.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, Blues Brothers is... I think Blues Brothers is the top.
Yeah.
And then Wayne's World, and then Coneheads in terms of SNL movies. Because I
Coneheads.
really
I
that
forgot
movie
about Coneheads,
that movie's
yeah.
very good. And considering that the sketch was really just like, oh, they're funny and they're like they don't
funny.
know what's going on and they look funny and they're aliens, and then they made a whole movie out of it that actually really works.
That worked out. I don't think I've seen Coneheads. I've seen parts of Coneheads.
Yeah,
I've
it's
seen
actually-
parts of Coneheads too, but I may be mixing that up with the actual SNL sketches.
Maybe it is. Also, though, Bonnie and Terry Turner wrote it, and I believe they also wrote Wayne's World. It's something I need to check now, and then Amy can edit it to make it seem like I know what I'm talking about.
Verify it.
Oh,
Gotta
no, I'm not
verify
going to
your
make it
facts.
sound like you know what you're talking about, because you always know what you're talking about, and I want to make it seem like you don't for once.
Oh,
Does he though? I mean, I don't know. I feel like we
Man,
give him a little bit too much credit. Give him a little bit too much leniency.
I got a high credit limit, man.
Fuck you.
I do too.
Fuck both of you guys. Well, you know what?
Adults.
Why don't you guys go buy houses with your nice credits, huh?
I
can't
have
buy
a
a
house.
house.
Thank you.
Damn it.
I love my house. You've been there. You've seen it.
It's a
I
nice
can't buy a house not because because I don't have good credit. It's because I don't have money.
Because you're poor and you make
Yes.
bad financial decisions and
That
bad life
too.
decisions
That 3.
and bad eating habits. I don't know.
I do have really terrible eating habits.
We're actually all surprised that Amy's still alive.
Very true.
I'm surprised
Who
most
wrote it?
of all.
Let me make sure. Yeah, Bonnie and Terry Turner.
Ah,
That's what those movies have in common.
very nice.
So that might explain why they're both really good and really smart. And then in the case of Wayne's World, written by Mike Myers and them, and then Coneheads written by Dan Aykroyd and them, and Tom Davis. So anyway, but we're talking about sketches.
Yeah.
We're talking
So-
about SNL favorite SNL sketches.
Yeah.
So Johnny loves comedy. So let's hear from him last. Amy.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Amy hates comedy, so.
yeah, I absolutely hate comedy. One that I really love, and it's more for a sentimental reason that I love it,
Boo. I'm sorry.
is because it's like one of the things that my youngest sister and I really connected over. Like, we're complete opposites.
She's
but-
fun. What?
Yeah, my sister is a lot more fun than I am.
Yeah.
But it was like right before Jimmy Fallon became the host of whatever, The Tonight
Late
Show.
Night. No.
Whatever he's a host of now. I don't know.
No, he was the host of... Wait, before that?
No, it was
Was he still on SNL?
It was in 2013. So it was like right after he took over the show that he has now. I don't know what it's called because I don't watch it. Before Seth Meyers.
Of the Tonight Show.
Yeah, before Seth Meyers took over Late Night with Seth Meyers.
You're confusing me.
Okay, so it was when he
It doesn't matter.
You've got to carry the one.
Okay. All right, whatever.
Sorry, it's a lot of math.
He was not on SNL anymore, is what you're saying.
No, he was not on SNL.
Okay.
He was hosting.
Yeah.
Justin Timberlake was either co-hosting or it was the musical guest. I don't think it was either. He might have just come on because he's good friends with Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
And Justin Timberlake played Jimmy Fallon in a Family Feud sketch, and Jimmy Fallon played what's-his-face from The Big Bang Theory.
Jim Parsons.
But he wasn't playing, like, he was Jim Parsons, but he was playing more of the Sheldon character. Mm-hmm. So it was like he was Sheldon and not Jim Parsons. Mm-hmm. But Justin Timberlake does such a great impression.
For the record, listener, I do not watch Big Bang Theory. Nope, I really don't.
Just needed to clarify that. That's
that I have taste and shame.
I used to watch it, but I haven't watched it in probably like 5 years.
Sorry to interrupt, Amy. Continue. Okay. I just wanted to set the record straight.
Okay. But, I mean, Jim Parsons is not all Big Bang Theory. He was really great in...
Muppets, the Muppet movie?
Yes, and the
Hidden
Figures. He was great in Hidden Figures.
Yeah.
Anyways...
getting to the thing.
Getting to the point.
Yes.
Justin Timberlake does a really great impersonation of Jimmy Fallon, and the way he does it, it's like so great, so like the way he's.
That's the impersonation.
He does it exactly like the way I did it because I'm such a great impersonator.
Yes.
But the way he was doing it, my youngest sister and I just thought it was the funniest thing back in 2013, and the funniest thing about that was Jimmy Fallon, which this is not hard to do, broke during it, and Justin Timberlake's in the middle of like doing something.
I wondered what would break first, your spirit or your body.
Jesus.
But like Justin Timberlake's in the middle of Keenan as Steve Harvey talking to him, and then Justin just snorts and then points, and then the camera switches to Jimmy Fallon, and he's like bent double behind his like pedestal thing, just like laughing and breaking, and then it cuts back to Justin Timberlake and he's laughing, and I was like, it was stupid and funny, and I watched it again earlier.
It's sentimental.
And it's still kind of funny to me.
It's heartwarming.
Only because of the connection I have to it, but it's not as funny as I think it is.
So your favorite SNL sketch is a
not funny
sketch with Jimmy Fallon and
which to
Justin
set the record
Timberlake.
straight, like Joe set the record straight, I am not a fan of Jimmy Fallon's.
All right, well, yeah, I don't know.
Which I think is another reason why it was so funny to me, is because I wasn't a fan of Jimmy Fallon, and the fact that Justin Timberlake was just making fun of him even though they're best friends was really funny.
I see.
I guess I'll go next.
Yes, I was like, Joe, what's yours?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to narrow it down. My mom raised me on a steady diet of SNL from a very young age, which explains a lot about me.
From the 70s,
Yeah, from
right?
the 70s.
He was a young child.
And Dan Aykroyd is a hero of mine. I mean, the entire
We know!
cast
Jesus
was
Christ,
brilliant.
how many times you gotta fucking mention Dan Aykroyd?
Until I can meet him.
Okay. Yeah.
I haven't met him. There were like 2 projects that I had a chance that was like as close as I will have ever gotten, and
that
it
sucks.
didn't happen.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I for me, it's I think torn between the Bassomatic and Mel's Char Palace, which were both like more like Saturday Night Live commercials.
Okay. Oh, like their fake commercials?
Yeah.
Oh, I love the fake commercials.
And so he would do this thing, and it was the classic like sleazy businessman Dan Aykroyd fast talk thing that he would later do in all of his films.
Yeah.
And so with the Bassomatic, it's just a blender, but he's talking about like all the stuff you can put in there, and he's like, with the Bassomatic, you can take this frog, you can put it in the, and then he like, or like this whole fish, and he like puts all this stuff in, and it's nasty, and it blends it, and then he drinks it, and it's just whole thing. And then he would do a similar thing with Mel's Char Palace, which was like, Mel's Char Palace, the only place you come down here, you find your own cow, you pick it, you choose it, you stun it, you kill it, you cut it, you cook it, here's Mrs. Mel to show you how it works. And then it's Gilda Radner with a chainsaw, just goes and so that was like classic Aykroyd.
Yeah, that's like classic era, right?
That was. I mean, that would have been anywhere from. I mean, Mel's because you can see like early SNL, like in '75, they were still figuring out the premise and the way the show would work.
I mean, had a different
so
name.
I would say
It had a different name. It was like Live from New York. No, Live, because it wasn't called Saturday Night Live.
I think it was.
No, the
Yeah,
first
it
go around
was.
it wasn't. It was not called Saturday Night Live because there was another show. I think it was like a sports show or something on ABC that was called Saturday Night Live on around that time. So it's the reason why they say Live from New York. It's Saturday night. I think it was just called. What was it called? I know it wasn't called Saturday Night Live though.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, no, it was.
I read something similar in the.
Oh, it says. Sorry, it just says the show was originally called NBC's Saturday Night.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And it says because Saturday Night Live was in use by Saturday Night Live with Howard Cosell on the rival network ABC. After the cancellation of the Cosell show, NBC purchased the rights to the name in 1976 and officially adopted the new title on March 26, 1977.
Boom.
Yeah.
Love being right.
I mean, and it's interesting, too. Like, you look at the first episode, and it's George Carlin's the host.
Oh, yeah, I know.
And a good half of the show is just him doing stand-up.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
And then, like, with some skits, like, peppered in. And for a while, like, Lorne Michaels wanted Albert Brooks to be, like, the continuing, like, running host.
Yeah.
And Albert Brooks didn't want to move to New York. And so he suggested that they just have, like, a rotating roster of people. Which is
great. I mean,
great.
Just, like, it kind of makes it what it is.
And then they had Muppets on there for a while.
Yes, they did. Sex and Violence. So, anyway.
What's your favorite?
Oh,
Johnny?
mine? It was a hard one. It's a toss-up. They're both Will Ferrell ones. I mean, Will Ferrell, definitely one of them. One of the best things to come out of Saturday Night Live ever. So I would say my favorite would have to be Harry Carey interviewing Jeff Goldblum, scientist. The fuck, I forget what it's like. The outer space. Harry Carey has an outer space show, and he's talking about space. And he's just like, "Hi, I'm Harry Carey," and he just asks these most insane questions to Jeff Goldblum, who's trying so hard not to break because he's just like. The questions he's asking are just insane. And he's like, the moon, we know that the moon isn't made of blue cheese. And he's like, yeah, that's right. And he's like, but what if the moon was made out of barbecue spare ribs? Would you eat it then? And he's like, what? I don't really know what you're asking. It's a simple question, doctor. Would you eat the moon if it was made of ribs? I know I would. Hell, I have seconds. He's like, and then I'd polish it off with a tall, cool Budweiser.
I feel like we were talking about that earlier, and I was saying, like, my favorite bit from that is, like, if you were a hot dog and you were starving, would you eat yourself?
It's so, because it's one of my favorite things, just in all comedy, really. It's just absurdism. Yeah. It's Harry Carey, who was the Chicago Cubs announcer.
Yes.
You know,
I know. I grew up over there.
Yeah, fair. But it's just like him hosting a science show it's absurd. It's the idea, like, how do you come up with that? And I love that about it. I love that it just gets more absurd as it goes. He's like, I'm curious like a cat. That's why my friends call me Whiskers.
I don't know if you guys have anything else, like any other ones.
Well, like I said, Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood was a really, really great one. We were joking about that one. Just, do you know that one, Amy?
Kind of. I mean, I have like this coffee table book, and I've skimmed through it multiple times. Yeah. And I haven't like read it because it's a big, thick book, but I mean, I've seen like pictures and stuff, and I probably have like watched a sketch like when I first got it years ago.
Because it's great. It's Eddie Murphy doing Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, but in the like inner city. Yeah. And so
in
like
the hood.
So like when he comes in, he doesn't come in through the front door. He comes in from the fire escape through the window, and then like there's a knock on the door, and he walks over and he goes, "This is how we answer the door in Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood." What? You know.
That's pretty funny.
Very good. Well, shall we talk about this movie?
Let's watch the movie.
No, we want to talk about the movie first. Give it a little lowdown on it. Talk about our experiences.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Johnny, give us a lowdown on this movie since you picked it.
I did pick it. I forgot that I picked it, but I suppose I picked it. It's definitely, I think I might be the one who have seen it the most out of all of the three of us.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I don't know. Like, this was one of those, like, movies that we had on VHS, which I believe we got from McDonald's.
Oh, really?
One of these, like, weird things. I don't really remember how we came about it, but I just remember having the VHS tape, and me and my cousins would watch it over and over and over again.
And it keeps getting funnier every single time I see it.
It's so good. I mean, like, it's funny because, you know, as Wayne's World, it has a lot to do with, you know, what it's the 80s, right? Or like
1992.
92. So early 90s.
February 14th, actually Valentine's Day.
Nice. And it had a lot to do with, like, heavy metal culture and, like, you know, like, rock culture, which I knew nothing about as a kid. Like, it was totally not my scene, not what I was about. Like, nobody in my family listened to that type of music. Or really was in that sort of culture, but it was just funny. Like, the jokes were hilarious. Like, we would quote it all the time. It was just one of those movies that, and it stuck with me throughout, like, my entire life, and my cousins too. Like, we can always just go back and quote it, like, because we watched it so much as kids, you know, just growing up. Yeah. So it's definitely, like, one of my all-time favorite comedies. But, you know, it's also one of those movies that, like, everyone seems to like. So when I chose it, I was like, oh, maybe this isn't a good one to choose because everybody thinks it's good.
Yeah,
right?
it's a classic.
It's a classic in some sorts. But, I mean, I don't know. Is it really? I mean, in terms of, like...
Well, that's what we're going to answer today.
In terms of, like, cultural penetration, like, is it in the way that, like, Jaws or The Godfather is considered, like, classics? You know, is Wayne's World one of them? I don't know. We'll find out.
Well, we will discuss that later today.
Because I haven't seen it in a really long time. Like I'm saying, I know the movie like the back of my hand. But, like, I have not watched it in, I would say, at least 7 to 8 years. So it's been a minute.
What about you, Joe?
Well, so I think probably much like you, I have been aware of this movie my entire life. I watched it so early, I don't remember seeing it for the first time because it was just always
it was just appeared. It was just there. It was just a VHS
downloaded
tape.
Into your mind already.
Yeah, pretty much.
I had it on VHS, but that wasn't until later. Like, I bought it. I think we just kept renting it from Blockbuster.
Oh, nice.
You know, and my mom loved it because she loved Saturday Night Live, and I remembered watching the sketches. And the funny thing is, I've seen it many times. I can quote it, but there's jokes. I remember there were jokes that I didn't get when I was little that obviously I get now.
Definitely a bunch of that.
But anytime I think about it, I always think about it through the lens of young me not getting everything. And then when I watch it as adult, grown-ass man me, then I'm like, oh yeah, this is good. You know, like, so there's like, I get to enjoy it on two levels.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But this movie is one of my all-time favorite comedies. And I would humbly submit that this is one of the rare comedies where the sequel is as good as the original,
if not better. Which I mean, the sequel fucking fantastic. And such a good sequel.
And oddly, for whatever reason, sometimes I get the comedy bits mixed up. Like, it's like, is that from the first one or the second one?
Yeah.
Because they feel like consistent.
Yeah.
Amy, how about you?
So I've seen pretty much all of the Wayne's World sketches, I believe, and I think I've seen the movie, but like, it could also be like it was on TBS or TNT or something, and it's just like bits and pieces, or I could be mixing it up with the sketches. So I'm not sure how much of this I've seen. There are parts that I know I've seen, like the Queen song, like the scene with Queen.
Classic.
Yeah.
Like that is just something that is in the cultural zeitgeist
Yeah.
that everyone
I mean, that's
knows
what
about.
everybody knows the movie for.
Yeah.
And it's actually the first time that I ever heard Queen. Like,
Yeah.
I had no, because like I said, my family had no, you know,
Yeah.
like they didn't even watch Saturday Night Live. Like, it was nothing. It was just, I don't even know. I don't know how they got this movie. You know what I'm saying, I don't know how this movie came into my life. Like, but it did, and I didn't know that the song was a Queen song. I just, you know, they sing the song. They have the montage of them with the song, and it wasn't until like years later I was in somebody's car and they were playing it, and I was like, it's the Wayne's World song.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's funny because my mom was also like a big music fan, and I was raised on a steady diet of Eric Clapton and the Rolling Stones and Paul Simon, Tom Petty, but she didn't have any Queen tapes, and so Queen was just something that I would hear on the radio, but Wayne's World was the first time that I remembered like a song in a movie that really mattered, like was important to a scene. And then this was back before you could just like, I'm gonna type into YouTube and listen to this song. So it was one of the few times where it was like, this is a song we didn't own that I could watch and listen to repeatedly.
Yeah.
And so for me too, it was kind of like my breakthrough moment with Queen, which interestingly, Queen's kind of gone through like ebbs and flows. Like it's always been good, but it's not always been like top of mind.
I did read that this brought it back.
Oh,
yes.
And that Freddie got to see some clips. He didn't get to see the full movie and see
Yeah.
the renaissance of this song.
Yeah.
But because he passed away, but right before this movie came out.
And I guess they've even like gone on records like, yes, this is how we used to listen to songs, like when we were driving around in the car, you know.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah. I'm excited to see it because I am a fan of Dana Carvey. Not necessarily Mike Myers as much, but
That's a weird statement.
It
I
is
remember
weird.
I remember
Throwing
when
me
I was
backwards.
younger, I really loved, and this shows how much my mom didn't like. This is my mom. She is not a fan of Dana Carvey.
Really?
Yeah, but I watched Master of Disguise probably too much as
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
as a
you-
young adult.
Absolutely.
As a young adult, not even as a
Oh,
child.
man.
As a preteen. I don't know when did Master.
I mean,
of
they
Disguise?
came out early 2000s, right?
Yeah. I mean, he
I'd
was
say 2003.
02.
You know, Dana Carvey was actually one of the first comedians, because one of the things that he did really well on Saturday Night Live was impersonations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he was actually one of the first like people ever, when I remembered watching him and thinking, wait a minute, you can change your voice to sound like somebody else. And then and from that point, and I
Is
was
that where
like
it starts?
7,
So we have Dana
Dana
Carvey,
Carvey to thank
Yeah.
for Joe's
Yeah.
multitude of voices and impressions.
and because I was like 7 years old and I started doing an impersonation of Mr. Rogers, you know, because I was
Can we
like,
hear it?
no,
No.
only mainly because with the headphones on, I can only sort of hear myself. Like I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
hear myself at the same time. It's really weird. But I remember Dana Carvey doing like an interview talking about like when he figured out that he could do impersonations of something
Yeah.
he could do, and he said like the first thing he did was the Beatles, and so he'd come
I
downstairs.
can totally see him doing a Beatles impression.
And like in the interview, he said that he'd come down and be like, "Hey, Mom, I'd like some pancakes, please." You know, like.
Yep.
So yeah. So anyway, so that's like Dana Carvey. I love Dana Carvey.
Yeah.
I've always
I think
been a
that's
fan.
like the reason why I liked Master of Disguise so much
Yeah.
was because of Dana Carvey's impressions. It's a terrible movie.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything of it because it's probably been since like 2003, 2004 since I've seen this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember really loving his impressions.
Yeah.
Like turtle.
Yeah. Did you ever see?
It was so stupid.
There was an episode of Saturday Night Live where he was George W.
Yeah, he was
H.W.
George
Bush
Yes.
H.W.
and
Bush.
Ross Perot, and there was like the Republican debate, and he was like. They digitally put everybody on there, and so he's got it was like not gonna raise taxes, you know, and then like Ross Perot's like well, you know, it was, you know, I remember watching it just being like wow.
I would love to
Genius.
see him and oh my god, why am I blanking on this? Vice.
Oh, Christian Bale.
Not Christian Bale, the George W. Bush.
Oh, Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell. God damn. I would like to see like a flashback episode of SNL since like George H.W. Bush has passed away. And it'd be like Dana Carvey and Sam Rockwell doing a bit together. Like not even necessarily SNL, but like just seeing them do something together because they both have really good spot on impressions of those presidents.
No,
Yeah, and Sam Rockwell's just fucking great.
he is
Yeah.
great. He's a national treasure. All right, let's watch this damn movie.
Yeah.
Watch the movie.
And now, our feature presentation.
And we're back.
Da-da-da-da. It's like, yeah, what a bummer. Let's go to the super happy ending.
No, let's do the Scooby-Doo
Let's
ending.
do the Scooby-Doo ending. Oh, I love a Scooby-Doo ending.
Oh my god. Mr. Withers. When I first saw him,
Yeah.
for some
Well, I love that he's in the beginning though. He's
Yeah.
like Stanley
They
Keita's
set
Donuts.
the
it
joke up so well.
Yeah.
And you're just
Yeah.
like, God damn, the only reason why he's there is just to pay it off
just
again.
for
Yeah.
just at the
So
end.
fucking funny.
And for like some reason, I don't know if either of you watched the live action Scooby-Doo.
I remember
written by
I did
James
see
Gunn.
it. It was written by
Yes,
James
it
Gunn.
was written by James
I
Gunn.
did see it. I don't remember much of it.
At the very, very beginning, it's not Mr. Withers, it's Mr. something else. And for some reason, I got that actor and the guy who plays Mr. Withers in Wayne's World mixed up. And then also the drunk guy in Big Daddy, which none of those three actors look anything alike. But somehow I wrote in my notes, Mr. Withers equals drunk guy from Big Daddy or villain from the beginning of Scooby-Doo. And I was like, wait, I looked him up. I'm like, none of these are the same person.
You have a very strange brain, Amy.
Amy has face blindness. She actually
do.
doesn't know what we look like.
I get the two of you guys mixed up all the time.
Everybody does.
Racist. Anyways, Amy, since you were the person who maybe had you have seen it?
I remember bits and pieces.
Okay, but you never seen it all the way through.
I had never seen it all the way through.
What was your impression?
I had so much fun, even though I will say I did fall asleep during one of the endings.
What?
But
What?
I woke up and I rewound.
Usually people say that at Lord of the Rings, not.
No, it was
Wayne's
because I
World.
was like laying in bed and I was kind of tired. It was like late at night, so I woke myself up and I rewound the 3 minutes I had fallen asleep through, and it was no big deal. But I had fun. I loved it.
Oh, it's so good.
I forgot that Rob Lowe was in.
All right,
this.
everybody, that's it. It holds up.
That's it. It holds up. I mean, it does hold up. You know what I didn't? What I haven't seen in a while, and I remember I know this movie, like really well.
Yeah.
And I know all the comedy bits, and I'm like, the comedy bits have always been funny to me.
Mm-hmm.
What I never paid attention to was how well this movie is directed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, and how well, not only is it just well directed, but how that direction serves the comedy.
Yes.
Yeah.
How much it's so good. Like the bit where there's so many good bits.
Yeah.
Just direction. Like just the way that like when they first go into the coffee shop or the donut
Makita's
shop,
Donuts.
Makita's
Yeah.
Donuts, and then the camera pulls away to Ed O'Neill.
Yeah.
And he's like,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
like, why is it when you kill a man in the heat of battle, it's called heroic, but if you kill him in the heat of passion, it's murder.
Ed O'Neill is so great in this.
He's so intense.
I am so intense.
and then he's like, "Hey, what are you doing? Only Garth and I get to talk to
only
the
time-
camera."
The fact that it breaks the fourth wall
Yeah.
and it's like it's just
Immediately,
this,
too.
immediately.
Yeah.
It's
Like,
just like,
when he's talking about like mopping up Hurl and lung butter
Yeah.
at Mall of America.
That first part where he's like walking through his house and talking
Yeah.
in the camera,
Yeah.
I was like, this feels like I'm watching Ferris Bueller. Like I got very like big Ferris Bueller vibes off of it.
yeah,
Like that came out like
big
4
Ferris
years
Bueller
before.
energy.
yeah.
Yeah, big Ferris Bueller energy. Joe with the pop culture references.
Look at that. That's like I'm not
The
even like
dated
6
pop
months.
culture
Is
references.
it 6?
What?
Am I 6
No.
months behind on that one?
A little bit, yeah.
BDE is a big thing right now. People
Not
are,
right now.
People still.
I'm just
quote
saying
that.
the moment
Has passed.
has passed,
Yeah.
and it was
That's-
like 6 months
And
ago.
that's usually when it filters down to me.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or like 4 years later.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
Joe,
it's
you
one or
and
the
pop
other.
culture references are like the Midwest and technology.
Hey.
And fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. And coming full circle with that, though, I did that on purpose. Segue.
Segue.
Even though this was filmed in Los Angeles,
Yeah.
I got a super Midwest vibe from it. Like they go past a White Castle, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, goddamn, White Castle. That is like the quintessential Midwest chain.
So I'm figuring that bit where they're literally going through what I believe are probably like landmarks in Chicago
yeah.
are I'm sure that was second unit. You know.
Well, I did read in the fun facts section of IMDb that the bank that they fade out from is actually a Los Angeles bank. It's like they just put a sign
Oh,
up
yeah,
above
yeah,
the thing.
yeah.
But
Well, a lot of it was filmed in and around the valley and in a place called Cerritos, which is actually where my grandma used to live.
Cerritos Auto Square.
Yeah. And there was a
just
bit
know
where
the
I was
jingle.
watching it and I was like, oh shit. Because
Wait
I
a
like
minute.
I recognized some of
Yeah.
it. You know?
Yeah.
But like the bar that they like, there's a bar that they drive past, and it has like it says like Chicago's and then something.
Chicago Joe's or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
I was like that is something that you would see. Like I drive past something like that
Yeah.
when I'm visiting my grandparents in Southern Indiana. There's a bunch of bars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like when they go to Gasworks, that feels very Chicago to me.
Yeah, big warehouse.
And Cassandra's apartment, like her studio,
loft,
seem
yeah.
it's very
Yeah.
like that's what I would feel like a Chicago apartment would be like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So going back to what you were saying about the direction, because the direction's really good, and I think it's paired really nicely with this writing that allows the script to have these small little vignettes that are funny without feeling like you need to check your watch and wondering where the film's going.
Yeah,
like
like
what the
Paul
direction-
Feig's work, you know,
Yeah.
where it was like there's
Shots
these
fired.
Yeah, right.
Joe really doesn't
coming
like Paul
at you,
Feig.
coming at you, Paul.
Because
But
he jacked his style. Started wearing suits.
yeah, asshole.
Yeah. Joe was wearing suits first.
I was.
Paul
Paul
Tompkins was
Feig.
before you.
Yeah, but Paul.
Nobody's
Tompkins
before me, Amy.
So, he's God.
Yeah.
Whoa, talk to Paul Tompkins about that.
That's why I rest every seventh day. But the movie has a very strong story that just makes time for the little like
jokes.
foxy woman scene, which is so great.
So
Actually, I think this movie might have been. I don't think it was the first time I'd heard Hendrix, but once again, it was like the first time.
It was definitely the first time I heard Hendrix.
Yeah,
Because I'm saying, like, I had no. I mean, my family is not from this country.
Yeah.
So like, I have no previous experience to rock and roll music.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Especially that kind.
Especially that kind of rock and roll
Yeah.
music. So like, this was my first, and I didn't know any. I didn't know that Foxy was Jimi Hendrix until later, and then I was like, it's from Wayne's World.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might have been the first time I heard it. I just can't believe my mom wouldn't have. But I don't think she had any Jimi Hendrix tapes. Is the thing. Like I think she had a lot of records, and then we didn't have a record player, and so it was whatever she had on tape.
Yeah.
And then whatever the radio would play.
But you're right in that it does allow. I mean, because it's it's a story about him making. It's a skit. It's them making a show.
Yeah.
You know, but it allows it to go so many places. The not selling out bit. Like
Yeah.
That
That's
bit
so good.
is classic. It's so
I
good.
remembered that. I
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah,
but I
that's
think that's
another-
also like
That's another. I would say.
like a great comedy bit that people reference a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, I would think it's the most famous of that movie, second most after the Queen bit.
The Queen bit,
Yeah.
I agree with that. But with the direction too, I don't know if you noticed, it was directed by Penelope Spheeris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I know that now, especially
Yeah.
since we worked on some Penelope Spheeris
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Quick
and
plug
it's-
for Shout Factory: Decline of Western Civilization.
Box
Parts
set.
1, 2, and 3.
Dudes, and also Suburbia.
Suburbia.
Yeah.
Most recent.
Yeah. Which is interesting because, like, her work isn't comedic. Like, her work is...
Decline 2 is.
Decline 2 is a
funny.
little bit.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's not her... It's not her direction. It's
No.
more just the people that she's following.
A little bit, because apparently that scene with Ozzy.
I know that.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
Yeah.
kind of... You would kind of think that was fake, that scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
If
There's no way you'd be
Yeah,
tracking
you'd be
somebody's
tracking-
hands in
yeah,
an
yeah.
interview.
But her directing in this
Yeah.
helps. It just
Yeah.
it allows, like you said, it allows for the comedy, even the little bits, to
Yeah.
live there and to propel the story along. Also,
But a lot of the reason why she was brought on to it was because of Decline 1 and 2, and because she brought like that air of authenticity from the music world.
yeah,
And you can see that.
Oh, yeah.
And you can see that like everybody genuinely is in love with the music that that is being referenced in the movie. It's not just there just because.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that was a big part, and that culture, that sort of the metal culture.
And I mean, I know like Mike Myers fought really super
For the
hard to
Queen
get
song.
Bohemian Rhapsody
Yeah.
Yeah.
in that scene specifically, because they didn't want to.
No, they wanted, I think, like an AC/DC song.
Yeah, they wanted something cheaper, I guess.
Yeah.
And like he was right.
Yeah.
Because it fucking works.
It's so
It
good.
works
And it's
so well.
classic.
You know, he ended up banning Penelope Spheris, though, from directing the second one.
Really?
Oh, really?
Why?
Is that why?
He hated her. Like,
Whoa.
he hated working with her, and he hated this film.
Bogus.
At least that's what it says in the IMDb fun facts.
Really? I wonder if he was any happier with the second one.
But he's also, like...
The second one's also very good.
Yeah, the
She
second one's
said-
also very good, but I'm just wondering, like, but they feel very similar.
They
So I
do.
wonder
Yeah.
if, like, if he wasn't happy with this one, I wonder how happy he
It-
was with the second one.
Yeah, maybe Penelope Spheris has gone on record saying that she thought that Myers was really hard to work with, like a notoriously difficult actor to work with.
He does have that reputation.
Yeah.
He and Dana Carvey had a falling out some years, and only just like recently mended.
Really?
Yeah, mended their relationship. Yeah, I've heard a lot of things about Mike
Yeah.
Myers along those lines.
Which is crazy because how could he not like this film? It's so good. Like, what was his vision of it that
Yeah.
didn't come to pass?
Yeah.
You know? Because
Yeah.
this film, I mean, like we said, it's a classic. It holds up. Like, it's
Yeah.
fucking, what is it? It came out in 92? So
92.
Yeah,
Two.
92.
it's like, what? I'm not good at math, but it's at least 20 years
Well,
old.
take
right?
your age minus 2. So 26.
So almost 30.
Yeah.
The thing about this movie too is that there are some references that are a little dated.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
I put Grey Poupon is so dated.
I was gonna ask you guys
That-
if
I
you
had
knew
no-
what that was.
Okay,
The first
I watched
time-
I Love the 80s so much, Joe.
No.
But I remember watching that commercial. Like I remember
Yeah.
seeing that commercial
No.
on air.
I watched this movie. That was one of the jokes that I just never got. And
Yeah.
we laugh because they're laughing, but we
Yeah.
never got it.
Yeah, well,
and it
also
wasn't
Grey
until,
Poupon is a funny sounding word.
Yeah, exactly. And it wasn't until like much later, like the invention of YouTube, that I looked
Yeah.
up the commercial of like what the hell this thing. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I get it.
Yeah,
now.
I got it because I watched VH1's
Yeah,
I
I
love
love
the
the
70s,
whatevers.
80s, and 90s religiously, but Yeah, I understood that reference, but it is very dated. So if somebody like a Gen Wire were to watch this movie for the first time now, they'd be like, "What the hell are they talking about?" Probably even like that Terminator reference,
The Terminator reference,
the Star Trek references.
Robert Patrick, have you seen this boy? 'Cause it's Terminator 2. Yeah, and this is so great.
It's such,
but
it's
but
so
yeah,
good.
there's that. There's the Star Trek reference. There's
2 Star Trek references.
Yeah.
I
Much
have that.
like Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have them on here. I was going to quiz you about those references.
Because
Joe.
Garth is whistling the original Star Trek tune when they're laying on the
laying
car.
on the thing, looking up the starship.
But what was funny too is, and it's funny because this would be 2 years roughly before Next Generation would end. So Next Generation was already like a force on television. It had been around since '87. So it's kind of funny that it kind of feels like, according to this movie and the world, I guess in general, that it was still like playing catch up.
Yeah.
But it's.
God, that's just funny.
It is so funny, so there's these dated references, but it kind of feels like and then actually there's another thing, there's an undercurrent of like music culture, not just listening but playing. Especially like when they're looking at the Stratocaster, and they said, I think it's like 1960 Stratocaster with 3 single coil pickups and a whammy bar. Yeah, and the thing is, it's like, if you know Stratocasters, it's not a big deal. They all have 3 single coil pickups, and then maybe they have a whammy bar, maybe they don't, but it's easy to put one on.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not a big deal. And then when she says like she'd shave down the nut and take out the low E and all this stuff, and it's take the buzz out of the low E, and it's like, well, yeah, they do buzz, and it's like, and those are jokes that I didn't get when I saw it when I was little, but I'm a guitar player now,
So you're just like,
and so I'm just like, but there's that bit when he takes it out of the case and he starts playing, then he's like, no stairway.
No stairway. I love that.
And it's so great.
Yeah.
But it was like another joke when I was little I didn't get, and I'm not sure that Gen Wires now would get.
No, I didn't get that, but the only reason I ended up getting it because I was looking at the fun facts, and that song was actually banned from music shops in the UK.
Yeah, well, and not only that, but if you've ever gone to like a Guitar Center or something like that,
That's
there
all
are a
people
bunch
play.
of it's not necessarily stairway, but it's just a bunch of people making a lot of fucking noise, and most of them cannot play, and it is, I don't know how people actually work at a Guitar Center.
Which I think that's funny when Wayne goes, "Oh, I'll play the Can I Help You riff."
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I know. Can I help you, Riff?
Yeah.
Can
I help you?
It's so good.
Well, and then in that same scene, it's funny when like Garth's playing the drums.
Yeah.
Which is actually Dana Carvey playing the
I
drums
was going to bring it
for
up. Dana
36
Carvey
seconds.
can really play the drums, and he actually played as Garth with U2, like live on stage
no way.
once. And there's
No
there's
way.
video of it, I'm sure, online.
Yeah.
But it's like they called him up there, and he's doing it. He's keeping up, and it's just really, but it's crazy to see U2 and Dana Carvey as Garth playing the drums.
Fucking
On
hilarious.
stage. It's like, that's so cool.
Can we also take a moment to appreciate just how great Garth is
Yeah.
as a character? He became my favorite character.
I love how socially, like, you notice he never shakes hands.
No.
He
That's
avoids
like,
eye
which I'm
contact.
like, me.
Yeah.
I'm Garth.
And it's just like like, your name is pronounced Algar, right? Okay.
Wayne.
Every scene where he sees the dream woman,
Yeah.
and he goes, "Oh, I slipped."
I slipped.
I do.
But you do know. Hold on, sorry.
Go.
Sorry to interrupt you, but Dream Woman. Do you know who she's married to?
Who is she married to?
Dan Aykroyd. Since 1983. She's been married. The woman who plays her, Donna Dixon,
That's Donna Dixon?
Has been married to Dan Aykroyd since 1983.
I didn't realize that was her. I know Donna Dixon, but I didn't realize that was her. Oh shit!
Oh wow. Making
Wow.
discoveries.
Look at
That
that.
I knew something Joe didn't know
You
about.
about Dan Aykroyd, no less.
Exactly.
I had no idea that was Donna Dixon.
Wow. That's crazy.
But it's just, and like, people like, there's something, somebody says something to Garth and he's just like, thank you.
Well, because he's like, the guy's like, I love you, man.
Yeah.
I love you
Well, that
too.
bit,
He's like,
yeah.
no, I love
I love
you.
you.
And he's like, hey, Garth, Randy's got something to tell you. He's like, I love you, man. Thank you.
I think this movie cements my love for Dana Carvey.
He's really great in it.
He's so good, and it's and like the character work of like his room when we see it, and he's got like the Freddy like claw glove and a little star Mr. Spock,
And he's like hacker. He's like a early 90s
and you
hacker.
bump
And they
signal
always play the
back to
mission.
Satcom 967, and it's almost too easy.
And they keep playing the Mission Impossible theme.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
it's so
Or like
good.
when he disarms
They have
them
a-
with the flashlight,
Yeah.
and he's like,
Yeah.
if
It's
Benjamin
gonna
was
be
an ice
okay.
cream, he'd be pralines. and dick. He strips the batteries. He's like, it's okay.
When they're like trying to go down, he's like, guys,
I fell on my keys.
Which, I don't know if you've ever actually fallen on your keys, but that shit hurts.
I've stabbed myself with my keys multiple times.
Yeah.
Because as a woman, you put your keys between your fingers and you walk like that.
Yeah, well, I'm saying,
Yeah.
like, because you don't put your keys in your pockets.
Yeah.
Because you
No.
have, like, other stuff
Yeah.
to carry. So, like, we have to put our keys in our pockets, and I have fallen on my keys like this, and it fucking hurts. And every time
I've had an earring
fucking-
in my pocket and fallen on it.
Yeah, no. Not good.
No.
But, oh, God. It's so many. Like, the bits are hilarious. The bits with Alice Cooper.
Oh,
fucking
yeah, Alice Cooper is that
amazing.
way, too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
he's super
but you know,
erudite.
he only
Yeah.
thought he was going to be there to perform a song and have one line.
Oh, really?
And then he had to memorize that monologue the day of.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it was like, I mean, Alice Cooper is
Millie
a history
Walkay,
buff.
which is Algonquin for
The
the good land.
This guy know how to party or what? Also, small but great cameo, Chris Farley.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
He's like he's coming back through Chicago. He's doing like, and he's like, wow, that security guard, you really knew a lot
of
information.
helpful information.
Yeah, and then later when they're getting ready to like hack into Mr. Big's TV, and he's like, I forget exactly what Wayne says, but he's like, and we knew all that information earlier.
Oh, it's
So-
like, yeah.
Just how like meta and like, it's fucking amazing.
Or like even like the Oscar clip thing at the bottom
Yeah.
when it's like, and I never learned
Gratuitous
to
sex
read.
scene, and then
just like,
he looks
excellent.
like 9.
Gratuitous sex scene, yeah. Like those bits, like that kind of like comedy kind of went over my head as a kid. Like
Yeah.
gratuitous sex scene, like when
the
that shit
Oscar
pops
clip
up.
thing, I didn't
Oscar
really
bit,
get
like,
when I was
I didn't get it
little.
either, but
Yeah.
I knew it was funny.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Like I knew it was funny, and then later, like as I grew up watching it, I was like, that's
Yeah.
fucking genius.
It is. It's kind of like Annie Hall a little bit. If you've
Yeah.
seen Annie Hall,
Oh, yeah.
you know, it's like
I love Annie Hall.
Yeah, and so like the scene where they're having the conversation, with the
conversation,
subtitles
but, yeah,
are
the
saying
sub-
different things,
that-
and like that kind of reminded me when he says like the one phrase in
Yeah,
Cantonese,
in
and then it just
Cantonese,
keeps
and it
going. You know?
It's so good.
I did wonder if his accent was any good though.
Yes.
You know.
There is one more thing I want to talk about with Garth. I have a bunch of fun facts about Garth, but we can get to those later.
Cool.
There's this little tiny bit where they're all drinking coffee, but Garth has a jelly
The jelly
donut,
donut, and he's, like,
sitting
slipping the
into
straw.
coffee
Yeah,
straw.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, oh my god.
And it makes little slurping noises.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, or like when they're at Rob Lowe's apartment and they all like cheers, but Garth doesn't have anything, and he just kind of pretends to cheers.
I
and then
fucking love that.
Which I felt for him there.
Yeah.
Um,
Another bit that I always love, and me and my cousins used to say this all the time because we'd play in the streets, and so when they're playing the street, car, game on, fucking all the time,
Oh, man.
every single time.
And speaking of that scene, I read in the fun facts that they had in the trailer, surprising somehow, this is before the age of MCU, they had an alternate scene where she runs into the car with her bike. In the trailer, she runs into the car on rollerblades.
Interesting.
That is
Yeah.
interesting. Laura
Rollerblades
was
are fun.
hilarious.
Oh yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
It's like Psycho Hosebeast.
Yeah, it's
like-
like,
She-
I don't even
she's-
own a gun, let
alone
alone many guns that would
to-
necessitate an entire rack.
You know,
Yeah.
What am I gonna
And
do?
they're on the roof, and
with-
she goes, watch out, and just pushes the guy in the
yeah,
window.
yeah. And it's funny because I still to this day when somebody gives me something, I go, if it's a severed head, I'm going to be very upset. Which is, it just made me think like it was 7 before 7.
I know.
What's in the box?
It's so good.
And the gun rack thing, though, I thought you guys were gonna be like, it's such a Midwest thing that she gives him a gun rack.
Yeah.
It
like-
is. Yeah. I can see it. It's
I
just-
don't own
it's
a
so
gun.
funny. I don't
Yeah.
own a gun, let alone many guns. So fucking funny.
Did you guys get the catch the Meatloaf cameo?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I wanted to watch this with Sarah because I don't think she's seen it and doesn't remember it, or like you, Amy, has seen bits of it, but not the whole thing all
Right.
the way through. And Meatloaf is not only her favorite singer, but also one of her favorite foods. And so,
How long have you been waiting to make that joke, Joe?
He's been waiting for since the day we picked this movie out.
But I was watching it without her because she was
really?
like, because I had to watch it. I was like, I had the time to,
Yeah.
and so like we watched it without her. And then I saw Meatloaf and I was like, God damn it, this has been like the whole like I could have.
Well, Joe, you know what that means? You just get to watch it all over again.
It's true.
Boom.
But like Garth's dog. And it looks
And
like
he's
him.
got- he's got
the
yeah,
little
he's got
collar,
the,
yeah.
the like the little
Yeah.
the little cuffling things as
Yeah.
well. And then he's like,
So good.
"What? Aliens have kidnapped Wayne? Oh, Wayne's outside."
Oh, I misunderstood. Wayne's outside.
He's like, it's okay, girl. And I thought it was so funny that she looks like Garth, but he calls her it's a girl dog.
Yeah.
I just thought that was really funny.
Well, wait until you see the sequel.
Oh, well.
Sequel.
Maybe we should add that to the list. 'Cause
Very
good. I know I have not seen the sequel.
The sequel's great.
Oh, it's so good. It's got Christopher Walken.
It does.
Well, there we go. We got to see it now.
Oh, it's so great.
My DVD that I have, I don't know if yours is this way, but the menu is actually like the TV Guide channel. And so it's like you put it in, and it says Paramount or whatever, and then there's like snow and static, and then you see like on the lower right hand corner there's like the green channel numbers like cycling through, and then it gets to the TV Guide channel, and it's like Aurora, Chicago, cable access network thing, and then it says, and it doesn't say just like play movie, it says like Wayne's World, and then like you click on that.
That's cool.
But then there's other things.
Oh, really?
There's like a Jazzercise thing and an episode of the Brady Bunch and something else, and it's just, and like you can click on it and you'll get like a 30-second thing from
no way.
that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it's really, and so I was like watching that, I was like, I totally forgot about
Do you have the Blu-ray or
No,
a
it's a DVD.
Yeah, because he has the double feature, and that's what I watched it on. And it's just like a bulletin board, and it's got like an Alice Cooper poster for like scene selection.
Yeah. It's like a great menu. And at first it started, and I'd totally forgotten that it did this, and I was like, where's play? What do I... fun fact for you, Amy.
Yes.
I got a fun fact. So when Benjamin offers them $5,000 for the show, I did the calculation.
I was going to ask, how much is that?
$9,107.20.
That's not bad.
For the entire show.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's just like for the entire show, and I guess then also they would then get appearance fees on top of that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but it's like, but I was like, $5,000 is a lot of money.
Yeah.
But when they're like, we got
$5,000.
$5,000, we got $5,000.
I love their dances. They're walking into the gas works.
Yeah.
It's like, and Wayne's like wiggling his butt. It's like sticking out. I'm just like, oh.
But I was like, it's like, that's a lot of money, but I don't know, but it's like $10,000 is a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
Which is basically what that was.
Yeah. For them, he was like living in his parents.
That's how much money I had when I moved out here.
Yeah.
And that went away real quick.
Yeah. I'm wondering, how old do we think Wayne is?
That's what I did think of that when I was like, he's got to be like, no, he's got to be like late 20s, mid 20s.
Yeah, because he says that I live with my parents, but there's both,
bogus
awkward,
and sad.
bogus and sad, so it's like, but it's not so bad
Yeah.
that it's like weird.
Yeah.
And
How
same
old,
with Garth.
How old was Mike Myers when he shot this? When he made this movie?
So this was, they probably shot it in 91.
Yeah.
And Mike Myers was born in 63. So if we want to do the math really quick.
Well,
Math.
60 to 90 would be 30 minus 3 is 27?
8.
28.
Okay, so yeah. So I would say it's probably the same character, same age as the character.
About, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I
that
would
would
say.
be sad.
So he'd be about our age right now.
Yeah. So if you
exactly.
guys are still living with your parents, that would be sad.
Yep.
Bogus and sad.
I know.
I do love
Hey,
he's
I
like,
was living with my parents up until 2 years ago, so.
I do love that he's like, I have an extension collection of name
name
tags
tags
and
and
hairnets. Well, it's so good.
See, I think that's the part where I was like, for some reason, that's the part that got me. I was like, Ferris Bueller.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's like, I can see
Because he's
that.
like talking on the camera.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Like, it's like a, yeah.
I mean, I got used to it more, and it didn't
Yeah.
feel like Ferris Bueller as it went on because more characters were talking to the camera, like
Yeah.
Ed O'Neill and Garth. But yeah. Also, I do want to point out that the actress who plays Cassandra, do you know?
Tia
Carrera.
Carrera. Yeah.
She was the voice of Nani in
Yeah.
Lilo and Stitch, and I was shocked to find that out.
Oh, really?
She's
Yeah.
in a bunch of
She's
stuff.
been, a ton of stuff.
True Lies. No.
True Lies.
She was
yeah.
in True Lies, yeah.
Smoking.
So good.
Smoking. Yeah.
She is very hot in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
This
That-
was like her big break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that she hadn't been in anything else, but this was like the big thing for her.
I love when the faces that she's making during the music video
yeah.
with the snake. She's just like, dude, come on.
Yeah. It's like, I think the snake fell asleep.
We both know there is no film in this
And then it
camera.
just keeps, like, pouring out.
That broke my heart, and I felt like your spirit was breaking as I was watching
my
it, Joe.
God.
Just watching all of that film get exposed.
Man, one
It's so
time in film
funny.
school, because we shot an actual film
Yeah,
in
well,
film school.
I took a like an actual film like photography class. I actually spent an entire summer learning film photography.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's
did
kind of
that.
rare.
I did
developing our own photos
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff.
That's
I did that
fun.
too in
It's
high
a
school.
lot of
It's
fun.
amazing.
Yeah. But we on one of the shoots, because we had to practice like loading the film into the camera in the bag, and do all that stuff. And then one of the guys had rented a 16mm camera because it was like Super 16 and really nice, but it had this thing called a collapsible spindle. And so what happened was, when it's taking it out of the bag, the spindle collapsed and the thing just unraveled and turned into this like tangled brain of film. and then there were like light leaks in the bag as well.
No.
And this was like, and it's like, man, you
it's
should have just
ruined.
gone with the school stuff like this. And so then they took the film changing bag to like directly to photochem, and then they took it out and they had to like unfuck this bag of snakes, you know, and then there was light damage issues and stuff like that. Some of the film was totally lost, and so he had to like edit around it for his project, and it still worked, but I just remember thinking like, because everybody else until that point we'd all been fine.
Yeah.
We'd had no problems whatsoever, and then that happened. And so that's actually what that reminded me of.
I've never had any, like, besides the photography class I took, like, when I was in middle school, I've never had, like, any interaction with film except for the 35mm camera that Beck's Loser music video was shot on, because that's my professor directed his music video.
Nice.
Or he was a cinematographer for it. But, yeah, like, that, like, even watching that, I was just like, oh my god.
I love that scene. It's so fucking funny.
Because, like, I've destroyed an entire roll of film on accident. Like, and that wasn't even when I was taking a photography class. It was when I was winding film for my mom.
Oh.
I was just like, oh my god, the heartbreak.
Yeah.
Amy, you got some fun facts?
I do have some fun facts. They are all Dana Carvey / Garth related.
All right.
Because I love him so much. Dana Carvey did not learn the lyrics to Bohemian Rhapsody. So if you look,
I know.
he was just
Yeah.
mouthing the words, and he hated those takes, but they still
really?
used them.
I thought that was an acting choice.
Which
Yeah.
I mean, I was
Same.
like, it seems like Garth.
Yeah.
Like,
that
I
he's-
mean, it seems totally fine.
like he probably loves the music, but doesn't know the lyrics and is so awkward about it, and so
Yeah.
he's just gonna pretend because he's with his friends who do know the lyrics.
yeah. And you,
If you're gonna spew into this.
and speaking of that guy, I forgot his name, but the whole Bohemian Rhapsody scene shows that Queen can make anybody feel better, because that guy looks like drunk and sick the entire time, but during the
party
Queen
out.
scene, he's
Yeah,
like,
he's partied out.
yeah. Well, but then he's also like, "Let me go."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, "No."
It's so good. I love
So
that
good.
bit.
along with that scene, Mike Myers and Dana Carvey hurt their necks while headbanging.
Yeah.
So you can see like later that they're just like barely moving to not hurt themselves.
Yeah.
It's funny.
And then the airplane scene, they were like, the whole scene was ad-libbed because it was the last scene that they shot after like a 34-day shoot. So like everything was ad-libbed. And while they were waiting for a plane, Dana Carvey he ad-libs the Bugs Bunny in Women's
That bit
Clothing
is
line.
Full
hilarious.
disclosure, I did find Bugs Bunny attractive when he played a girl bunny.
He played a girl bunny.
Because I mean, he's very close to Lola Bunny looking.
Yeah.
Nah. Lola Bunny's got that sex appeal. All right,
she
she's
does.
sexy.
But the laugh that Mike Myers has after that,
Yeah, it's genuine.
It was not from that question.
Oh,
It was
really?
he had a fake laugh to the answer to that like during that
Yeah.
scene. So they edited a laugh from something Dana Carvey had said before that
Yeah.
into after.
Because it does feel genuine. It
Yeah.
does feel like
Yeah.
two friends just hanging out.
Yeah.
Which is great. I mean, and ultimately what that movie is.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
But-
a bit when he's like, "You left me on stage." No, when he's like, when he leaves the show.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, they're looking at him. He's like, "You ever see that scene in Scanners?" His head blows up, and he's just like,
Oh man, everything that they just like to like. Whenever I think of Delaware, I think of this movie. It's like, hey,
we're in
we're in
Delaware.
Delaware.
it's just like,
And also, what we were talking about before, it's like we're looking down on Wayne's basement, but that's not Wayne's basement.
That's not Wayne's basement.
Isn't that weird?
It's like, yeah. And Garth, that was a haiku.
All right, and then like high
Everyone's
fives.
yeah.
But that's all my facts.
I gotta say, there's something nostalgic specifically about this movie because of all of the old commercials that it cycles through.
Oh, yeah.
Like the clapper
Oh,
yeah.
and the like Empire Carpets
Yeah,
commercial.
that's so specific
it's
that I'm
so
just like,
specific.
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah.
I remember those commercials.
And then there were some other things. And then like the
Chia Pets.
The Chia
Chia
Pet,
Pets.
which when I was little, I think I've mentioned this before. I desperately wanted one when I
Chia
was
Pets
little.
creeped me out because of where the chia grew out of. It
It
had
could grow out of anything.
I mean,
there's holes in the
Oh,
She doesn't like holes.
The holes, yeah.
she's a
She's
weirdo.
actually making a face just thinking about the holes.
think about the
It made me
holes, Amy.
itchy last night watching that. I was like, can you flip Back to the clapper.
Yeah. And but then also like the Nuprin, little yellow, different. Which is, do you guys remember that commercial?
Nope.
No,
That was
I didn't even know what that was.
Yeah, I
knew it was a
wondering if
commercial
Nuprin still
because they
existed.
switched to the
black and white
with the yellow. So I'm like, okay, they're spoofing a commercial. I've never seen this commercial, but I could piece it together. That's what the commercial
exactly
was.
how those original commercials were too, and that was the tagline: "Little yellow, different." And it was for headaches, I think.
Yeah.
I was just like, is it aspirin or something?
I don't know. I don't think it's around anymore.
Yeah. I think that's why I never heard of it. I mean, I could probably text my sister and be like, hey, what's this? But she probably wouldn't even know.
Wait, I'm looking it up now. So it's Advil. Oh wait. So Nuprin is actually essentially it's a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory. So it's ibuprofen. I mean, these commercials were from 86 and 87. But they, the cycles didn't turn over as fast. So I remember those commercials.
Oh, I mean, they were in the Midwest, Joe.
Yeah. But I guess Nuprin still technically exists.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I have a bottle of it in my purse. But it's just basic ibuprofen.
Huh.
Somebody else we did not talk about, and I want to talk about a little bit after you're finished with that, Joe, is Rob Lowe.
Okay, let's talk about a man who is still that fucking handsome.
God,
almost 30 years later.
What the hell does he drink? Like, what is in his water?
He was super coked out making that movie.
Well,
this was his
response to make
drugs.
him better, to reverse what happened with the scandal with his sex tape.
Right.
But it was so weird for me because what I know Rob Lowe for the most, at least recently, is Parks and Rec. Yeah. So it was so weird to see scummy Rob Lowe versus
slimy douchebag. Yeah.
Versus,
but he's so good.
I know he's so good though. I just love Rob Lowe.
And he's such a that bit where he's like, you sound like you're from Kelum Bay. Yeah. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he's like, this guy's good.
And when he
this guy's
in,
really
a
good.
Perfect Cantonese accent.
Yeah. Oh man.
And
then it's like, when Garth's going through his house,
and
he's like, ribbed for her pleasure.
Ew.
So good. And then I just love it. It's like he looks through his agenda, his planner, buy local cable access show and exploit it. Oh, I feel bad.
I hate to be those guys.
Oh my god. So good.
So many good
I know him mostly from this and
the
West Wing.
Yeah.
And West Wing, he plays a character called Sam Seaborn, who is he's very smart, but simple. But I did find a thing that says, Nuprin, does it still exist? And
the answer
says
is
here,
yes.
Technically, yes.
I guess it does. It says it's used to relieve mild, moderate pain from headache, menstrual periods, muscle ache, common cold, toothache, or backache. I mean, it's ibuprofen.
Well, I mean, that's what I take ibuprofen for.
Yeah.
All of that stuff.
Yeah.
All of it. Tight.
So,
do we have any alternate castings?
I did not have any alternate castings.
Because it couldn't
Besides
be. Everybody
the
was
fact that Penelope
perfectly
Spears
cast.
didn't do
the second one.
Something I do wonder about is, I know this had a script and it was written, but how much of it, besides that airplane, the scene at the airport, was improvised?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's a good question. Because I think both Dana Carvey and Mike Myers come from improv roots, right?
They do.
Yeah,
Second City. Both
Second City, yeah. Right?
And obviously Mike Myers is Canadian, so he came through north of Second City.
All that. Yeah. All that Canadian goodness.
Yes.
But the thing is, in this movie specifically, I believe it is very tightly scripted. That'd be my guess. Mm-hmm. Because there's so many gags that are visual gags that are that they had to be prepared for. And you can tell improvised comedy, maybe an improvised scene and an improvised line, a reaction to that's all good, but whole scenes being improvised, you can tell. And I would point to Paul Feig. I'm looking at you. Those scenes where they feel like
Shots
they're dragging, and
where they just give Kate McKinnon full reign in Ghostbusters.
No, that's not the problem with the movie.
No,
Kate McKinnon, you let her go. You just wind her up and let her go. I'm talking about
or
as much
Melissa
as
McCarthy.
Yes, the wonton soup thing. It's we get it. There's one wonton in the soup, and it's called wonton soup, and you're upset. But this is a throwaway joke. This is not a whole scene, and they keep going back to it. Mm-hmm. Or even as much as I love Chris Hemsworth, and as much as I think that his ultimate best possible destiny is to be in comedy.
Yes.
His Mike Hatt, you know, well, that's my dog, Mike Hat. You know, like it's not that funny, and it's a whole scene of him being like a moron, and it's just like it stops the movie dead. Yeah. And this movie doesn't have that. I don't think much of the film was unscripted.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's my guess.
I mean, it's
like somebody might have come up with a thing on the day,
like a line or two.
But I think this movie was really tightly scripted.
I think so too, because the direction is just fucking spot on, and it helps. It's like I don't know. It partners with the comedy so well. Like it allows it. It allows it to shine, really. Yeah. And I think that's kind of ultimately what makes this movie a fucking masterpiece and a timeless one. Even though it's so it's got its references, it's got its link, but it's still so fucking funny.
You know, and it's also kind of like a feel-good movie because they're these like local celebrities, and and everybody really likes them. Like
I love those parts where everyone is like, "Wait!"
Yeah, you know, and like everybody likes them, and they're friends with everybody, and it feels like a lived-in world with real people around them. Yeah. You know. Mm-hmm. It doesn't fall into any tropes of you know this is the cop that always hassles us. It's like you know even do I definitely smell a pork product of some type. And he's like, I used to say that to cops when I was your age. You know,
I get it. Yeah.
You know,
it's so good, and it's just the fact that it has multiple endings, and they're just you know, it's so good. Yeah, like because this movie does end and it just ends. It's just like, well, it's a fun movie.
And it's like
it's
a super
party,
happy ending,
and it's the super happy ending.
Yeah.
And it's fucking great.
Did you guys get the Laverne and Shirley joke?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I mean, I don't think I got it.
Plant.
What?
They're like Shamil, Shamazel, Boston Pepper Incorporated, and then that whole scene is like shot for shot the opening to the sitcom Laverne and Shirley.
Oh, okay.
It's like 100, like because.
Well, I was like, why does this feel like it should be from a sitcom, but I'm just not getting it.
Yeah, because it takes place in Milwaukee. They both
and they like open up the doors in the apartment.
Yeah, and it's Penny Marshall. That was like that was her big show. It wasn't her big break because she started out on Happy Days. Laverne and Shirley was a spinoff of Happy Days, but that was like her big show. And that's where she came from.
Yeah. I knew it was an opening to an old sitcom.
Yeah, and if you notice, like the jumpsuit that Garth is wearing even has the L. Yeah, because Laverne always had an L like stitched onto her clothes. Huh. Yeah. Anyway, so I was just wondering, like I was watching this and thinking like there's all these like old people references, and I was like, I wonder if Johnny and Amy got most of these or not.
Yeah, I never watched Laverne and Shirley.
I mean, I didn't watch it either, but I knew that's where. Does when they put the glove on the thing, is that part of it too?
The thing too, and they like wave goodbye to it and everything. Funny. And Laverne and Shirley is where Lenny and Squiggy showed up, and of the two of them, you would recognize Michael McKean. He was one of those two, and that's where he started.
No way.
Yeah, and they were like the two guys that liked them that they didn't like, that were always hanging out.
Speaking of Michael McKean, I was watching Good Omens. He's in Good Omens.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't gotten that far.
He's Shadwell.
Oh, he's Shadwell?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. All the people in that show have fucking weird ass names that I can't fucking pronounce.
Yeah.
They're all fucking super British.
Yeah, there's a lot of heavy British names in there.
Oh, yeah. But anyways.
Does it hold up? I mean, not necessarily that we need to ask that, but
it does. Yes,
yes,
it does.
Excellent.
It is party time.
Excellent. Party time. Excellent.
God, I used to have
speaking of doing that.
Oh, remember that they're about to play it in like the professional song like pipes in, and it's like party on, Garth. I guess.
I love the fact that Garth has his drumsticks, but he's playing the guitar.
So good.
God.
Okay. Well, I guess that is Wayne's World party time. Excellent.
Hey, Amy. A sphincter says what?
No.
What?
But thank you guys so much for listening to Wayne's World. Don't forget to rate and review us on iTunes or whatever Apple Podcasts it is now. Because we don't ask that of you guys ever, but you should. It helps other people find us.
Yay.
But
is
you
that
can
how
also,
it works?
Yes, that's actually how it works, at least on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
It is. But you can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at Nostalgitis, NOSTALGITIS, or email us at nostalgiaeffectpod@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Tell us stuff.
Let me know how you feel.
Your deepest, darkest secrets.
How you feel, people.
We will not read them on air.
Yes.
Sure.
Because we are on air.
Yeah.
We're honest people.
All right.
But thank you guys so much for listening again, and don't forget to be kind and rewind.
Guys, let's do the super duper happy ending.
Wee